Ooh, this one's a doozy. I might get a lot of dislike just from the title alone. But hear me out. Disclaimer first. First of all, it's just a first impression, okay? I've not made it very far in the DLC yet, and my opinion might change as I move further into this expansion, but I doubt it. Secondly, I don't think this is a bad update overall. It's just that from what I've saw, I'm starting to think that this update is not as big as Ubisoft would like us to believe. Don't get me wrong, there is substantial amount of content in this update, but Ubisoft still has to build these new content on top of the old infrastructure. And like I said in the previous video, there's stuff Ubisoft just can't fix post-launch with expansions and updates. And the best Ubisoft can do at this point is to build or design around this old foundation, or rather at this point limitations. They need to build around that, and hence the end result is not as substantial as the promotion campaign will let players to believe. The main limitation I see so far is the same old AI and the same environment we're operating in. These two are just set in stone. We're just gonna have to live with it, and sometimes it's pretty damn hilarious to see the AI just break down. For example, these two trucks, I think they were supposed to be moving around, but they're just stuck on each other. I did see AI drive around obstacles before, but for whatever reason it just doesn't work here. They also did nothing when they spot my drone, so yeah, that's the capacity of AIs in this game, as you can see here. But hey, easy job for me. I mean, the Russian people are so nice, aren't they? Making themselves easy targets. Looking at this, I'm thinking, do we really need to disrupt the Russian operations when they can't even drive around each other in a truck? I don't know, I just rocket their asses in true American spirit anyway. And the same goes for the combat AIs. Like right here, the outcasts start spawning after I complete the Parliament mission, which is good because now your actions actually impact the open world. But at the same time, this really isn't something new, and it's not something we haven't seen before, which I'll touch on later in the video. For now, let's look at the AIs first. The combat AIs are just the same as before. Look at them just rush out into the open, with no regard of their life. The only strategy or tactics, rather, the AI knows is to walk straight into their enemies, under fire. I mean, it's no surprise, but still. Oh wait? Well, this guy knows how to take cover. Okay bro, keep it that way. Fire from cover, keep your heads down. Good. So is this guy. Oh no, now he's rushing out in the open, like a dumbass, when he has perfect cover. Okay, he's moving on to another piece of cover, that's good. And then he rushes out again. What's the rationale? What's the reason behind that action? I mean, this is to be expected because it is very unlikely for Ubisoft to be able to fix the AI in an expansion pack. Oh, you see? This one just bites the dust. And he totally deserves that. That's what we get for running out into the open in a firefight. Aren't these people supposed to be trained? Aren't they elite? But anyway, you can start to see the issue here. That no matter how Ubisoft changed stuff around, how good every other part of the update is, you're still dealing with the same infrastructure and the same limitations. That said, even with all these limitations in place, I believe there were still things Ubisoft could have done better, like the side activities or the destabilizing, as in this prison level. I mean, it's just recycled. I'm not saying Ubisoft can't recycle anything and every mission design should be new, but I believe we've been here more than once throughout the base game and all the DLCs, plus the faction missions. So maybe they could have utilized a lot of the unused areas of the map. So anyway, fine, you recycle some assets or mission designs. It's okay. But what about this one? So there's one activity in the it's not Liberty City, I'm thinking Wildlands. In the Aurora capital, I can't remember the name right now. So when I saw there's a mission there, I was stoked because this is the only major urban area in the game, and it's criminally underutilized. So I thought, oh, it's gonna be an intense urban combat scenario. But when I go there, this is what I saw. Basically 2 outposts with 3 guards each, and the Parliament itself. Like 3 guys. Look how easy it is to take down an outpost. Look, with teammates, I don't have to move a finger. I mean, I have to, press a few buttons, but look how easy it is. You're telling me you couldn't add a couple more guys to each outpost But maybe this is a starting area and Ubisoft is trying to warm us to it, to this expansion. But do they think we're idiots or, toddlers? Like 3 guys? Couldn't they at least give each outpost a full fire team, 4 guys? I don't know what's the thinking of this level design. And what about the Parliament itself? Like Battlefield Parliament, it should be somewhat epic showdown, right? We took out the outpost, we move in on the main objective. Well, here it is. It's all grunts. There's no heavy equipment, no special guard, high alert, nothing. Just a couple of grunts. I know this is a starting area, but does it need to be this easy? Also, this side mission doesn't make sense for the story. Didn't Bowman tell us in the briefing that US force presence cannot be detected or revealed at all? So wouldn't assaulting the Parliament with only US forces be a risky move and in direct contrast with the Operation Protocol? And since you already showed with the current mission design, you can have rebel reinforcements show up in other mission when you rescue some prisoner from the previous side mission. Wouldn't it make more sense that you first liberate and organize a rebel group and let them lead the charge into the Parliament while you're acting as the support, so your action is masked? Wouldn't that make more sense? Or if you can chain side missions together like you chain a side mission to a main mission, maybe the Parliament assault should be a main set piece or a main mission instead of 3 throwaway objectives that don't make sense for the scenario we're in. I don't know, maybe the mission will get better and harder down the line, but still, at least for these couple missions, there are definitely better ways to do them, even with all the limitations Ubisoft has to face when designing a DLC for this game. Now, I'm not saying that this new region or mission structure is bad. Actually, it's pretty good, since now the missions and activities actually has an impact on the open world and your future missions. So your actions feel more impactful, and every main missions has a build up to them. And also now every region features a different level of enemy resistance and other threats, which makes them stand out more from each other. I really like this new structure, but all the mechanics within this structure are not new if you take a closer look. Say for example the increased rebel presence, which includes rebel patrol and random rebel spawns. I keep calling outcast rebel, but anyway, I use them interchangeably. These are not new. The rebel patrol was already in Wildlands, which was again itself taken from Far Cry series. And the rebel spawn is just the mercenary ability from Wildlands. It's just now it's triggered by the system instead of triggered by the player. Another new feature they touted is the drone surveillance level that you can clear out. But the drone surveillance and helicopter patrol frequencies was already an option in Ghost Experience perimeters. So essentially Ubisoft just took this option, make it non-toggleable, and repurposed it in the new Conquest Mode. And while we're on the topic of reusing assets and mechanics, there are also the obvious, like we're still going to the same mission areas that we've already been through in the base game. Also, the outcast rebel still thinks they're fighting the Sentinels. I mean, obviously they just don't have new voice lines, which is fine because they're not that important, but still, it's just something that Ubisoft reused in this DLC. Then there's the story. The beginning for many players is already disappointing. Like how we got off the island is just hand waved and never really explained, and we're just planted back on top of a mountain just like that right after the cutscene. And again, Bowman is only voiced in a piece of PNG or JPEG, I'm not sure what it is. Basically, the production value of the story so far seems about on par with the live event, which is okay. And maybe Bowman will show up in the cutscene later in the campaign, we'll see. So all in all, the new mission structure and the story is good, and I like them a lot, but they're not groundbreaking for the franchise or even just for this game. I think people should know that. Not that it's gonna affect their enjoyment of the DLC. I'm just saying that it's not some great innovation that we haven't seen before. There are also other good stuff, like the new visuals or the new themes as they would call it. I'm not too sure if this sunset I'm not too sure if the sunset already looked like this in the original game, but I feel like it's a new color palette. And it does look pretty good if it is indeed a new rendition of the game's graphics engine. And some guns have new sounds. I mean, I guess it sounded okay. At first I liked it, but the more I listened to it, the more I realized it's not very realistic. It's just heavy bass with a metal clank or metal ring with louder volume. So to me, it's not better than the original sounds. They're just different to them. But that's a personal preference. It's not a deal breaker. But overall, the sound rework of some weapons, not really a fan. I mean, a G28 now sounds like an M250 cal, which is kind of funny. I can carry my personal 50 caliber machine gun on the go. Albeit with only burst fire. I'll probably just not use the gun. The gun sounds being louder and having more reverb is good, but the actual sound mixing, yeah, just not a fan. But hey, people liked it, and that's fine. People enjoyed it. Moving on, we got a lot of new gears and guns, and this one was pretty big and sweet. Like, we finally got the cross-com and all the future soldier gear. We also got a few skins, also the new guns. You got a new coloring option for existing gears. It's pretty nice, but it's Ubisoft. There's gotta be some disappointment. Like the M110, it's a new DMR and they couldn't give it 20 rounds. Like, my god, I know they're probably not gonna fix all the other guns with the wrong magazine capacities. But for Christ's sake, couldn't you do it right for a new weapon? Like, I know they can give different value to a gun within a certain class, because the MDR has 20 and 25 round magazine while being AR. All the other AR have 20 round, 30 round, and 50 round magazine. So I know it can be done. I don't know why Ubisoft wouldn't do it again here. Maybe they're planning on another change, I hope, but I wouldn't get my hopes up. Also, the AVS loaded. People want a vest with more pouches and gears on it, but the AVS loaded is not a well configured piece of kit. So yet another disappointment. Some people, there's still some people who likes it. I mean, that's okay, but personally, yeah, I'm not gonna bother with it. It's a ghost coin item anyway. I'm not about to dump money into microtransaction, at least not too much. Oh, and the new IR Illuminator, it's bugged, or I hope it is. It's always on. It doesn't matter if it's on your back, so your ass just lights up like a huge light bulb under night vision. It's like, hey, I'm here, shoot me. Although the ass doesn't actually see it, and it's actually pretty funny, it's still pretty annoying, so I hope it gets fixed soon. And by the way, the IR Illuminators, they're not very practical. They're just for vistas. I'm okay with that, but I do hope that the in-game render can look a little bit more realistic, even if it doesn't serve much actual purpose. Oh, and the weapon mastery system. It's good that you can finally spend your spare skill points, but I feel like the system makes all the guns too overpowered. They're just all too good. And I've already seen some people complain about this on the forum and Reddit. For now, I just ignore the system. I think it's redundant, but it is a good way to spend your extra skill points, if nothing else. So to conclude, the update's still good, and I'll definitely keep playing it, of course. And it might even get a lot better as it goes on. But as far as I can tell, this update more or less just took all the old elements within this game, while also incorporating some missed out mechanism from Wildlands, remixing them, and then just repackaged it into sort of a Breakpoint 2.0, if you will. Which is not a bad thing. I think the way they organized all the old elements is good, and it's kind of how the game should have come out. As I suggested in the title, I think this is a facelift because everything inside is essentially the same. It's just reorganized, repackaged, and then presented to the players with a new cover. A cover that is basically Wildlands 2. So yeah, that's my first impression. It's basically a facelift, but it's okay. It's not bad. It's just not as new or fresh as I thought it would be. I might do a follow-up or not. It depends on how the DLC progresses and how Ubisoft decides to further support this game. Now that probably the last major content drop has come out. That's it for me, and I hope you're all having fun with the expansion, and I'll catch you in another one.